I'd like to call to order the public hearing of the Board of Education of Homewood School District 153 for Monday, January 10th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Here.
Mrs. Hatterhorst?
Here.
Mr. Bosch?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here. Here.
Mrs. Buffet?
Here.
Mrs. Mark?
Here. Thank you. We need to conduct a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education to sell $8,200,000 of funding bonds. Do you want to?
Yes, this is these are the bonds that are going to be used to pay for the work that is actually currently in progress in terms of planning phase and is scheduled to begin once we get out of school after Memorial Day. So this is the money to pay for the variety of projects that we've discussed at previous meetings.
Great, thank you. And is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board regarding the sale of funding bonds? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education for Monday, January 10th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Here.
Mrs. Hatterhorst?
Here.
Mr. Bosch?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Booth?
Here.
Mrs. Buffet?
Here.
Mrs. Mark?
Here.
7.
We have minutes to approve from the regular Board of Education meeting of December 13th, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections to that set of minutes?
No.
If there are no corrections, is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have future dates.
Yes, we have obviously resumed from the winter vacation. We have events going on. Unfortunately, COVID has a mind of its own, and many of the events that we had planned for public participation and audience participation have been tabled to some degree or another. So we do have a concert, but the band concerts for this week, rather than being in attendance events, those students are going to do those during class. They'll be recorded and families can watch that way. Basketball has been a COVID casualty, if you will, so we had to shut down our basketball team for this week. Did just get to see a volleyball game, though, against Parker, so that was fun to see those girls play. And then also wanted to mention this Thursday, the PMA is hosting a Cook's Night Out, so if any of you are looking for some food on Thursday night, Portillo's, there's a flyer. If you take that, that would support our music organizations. And then also, next Monday, of course, is Dr. Martin Luther King holiday, so we will not be in attendance that day, although we are encouraging people to participate for Day of Service. So each of our buildings is kind of sponsoring an organization from the community, and we're asking for donations, which we will collect here next Monday on Dr. King's birthday, the holiday, and we will get those items distributed to those agencies. And that's going to be staffed by our Interact students, which is part of the Rotary Club for our younger students. And then February 1st is an early release day. Also, that was one of the changes we made to the calendar a few months ago. So February 1st will be an early release day.
Thank you. Let's see, sorry. Is there any, we have no presentations tonight, correct? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who came to address the board on any items that are not on tonight's agenda? And are there any responses to questions posed at previous meetings?
There were none.
Okay, thank you. Do any board members have any reports tonight?
Nope.
All right. Superintendent's report.
Yes, last week was an interesting return to school. We saw the numbers spiking, of course, with COVID as we left Thanksgiving. We got into the 3 weeks in between Thanksgiving and winter vacation. We were able to get our students through successfully. Had every intention of bringing our kids back last week on Tuesday, which we did. Unfortunately, and this is the note I sent out to all of our families, we did have really, really high positivity rates, not only with our students, but with our staff, to the point where we were not able to cover our classes. We simply did not have enough adults. So unfortunately, we made the decision last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to go remote. I did share those numbers today on our dashboard, which we update every Monday. So families are able to see exactly how many students we had that tested positive, how many staff members that tested positive. And you can see when you have those numbers of staff, especially that are quarantined for up to 10 days, 2 weeks out, staffing right now is a problem under the best of circumstances. We know that there's fewer substitute teachers, there's fewer teachers going into education, and then you have staff who just take normal absences for whatever reason, which we're able to manage. But when you throw, in one case, 9 staff members who are quarantined in a building on top of those regular day-to-day absences, it makes staffing really, really difficult. So we went to remote instruction and we're able to get through, and we did come back today. It is still very tight, though. I'm not going to say that we are out of the woods by any stretch. We still have staff members being pulled in all sorts of directions, district office staff covering classes. So we'll continue to do that, but it's not certainly unique to Homewood. It is a problem. I was on a call this morning with all the South Cook superintendents, 66 different school districts. Every district is suffering the same types of problems. So these are the times that we're in. I do want to mention, though, this past Friday, we did have a vaccine clinic, the second round of our vaccine clinic, and we had nearly 200 people that came through in that 3-hour window. So that was a really nice turnout for a vaccine clinic, which was sponsored by IDPH, and we hosted that event. That's all I have, but I do want to ask our district office administrators, many of whom are here this evening, to come share, just so you can see that, you know, school is moving forward. We are accomplishing great things in the midst of the pandemic. And so I'm just going to call up each of our district office people to share a little bit about what's going on. I'll start with Beth White, our Director of Technology. Beth, if you'd like to come up to a microphone, you're welcome to use mine.
So we've been pretty busy in the tech department, as you can, probably imagine, with us going remote for a few days and everything. Thursday and Friday, we prepped all of our 3rd and 4th grade devices. We pulled them all out of the carts, got the cords out of the carts and everything for them to be sent home at the device pickup on Friday. So all of our 3rd through 8th graders have devices that they will use all year. They'll take them home. So now our 3rd and 4th graders will take them home back and forth to school every day. A huge thanks to the tech department. Everybody just dropped everything and ran over to Churchill to help. We had a huge amount of help from the Churchill staff. We had assistants, we had teachers. Sarah and Mary Kay jumped in too to try to get that done as quickly as we could. And so it was successful. We got most of those devices out to families on Friday. We probably had, I think, about 50 or 60 that had not gotten picked up, but those went home with students today. They're all checked out with our library software, as we always do. So that was a good thing to get those devices in the hands of those students. Over winter break, we made some kind of behind-the-scenes changes and upgrades. Our Infinite Campus software, which is our student management system, where our grades and report cards and all of our student data is, lunch data, all of that, we migrated to a different version of their cloud-hosted software, which enables us to talk back and forth to our busing software. In the past, all we could do is take data out of Infinite Campus and dump it into the busing software, but we couldn't get it back in. So doing this over break allows us to have a back and forth data with that software. We also, the way we used our phones in the past was, we don't have individual old phone lines. we have something called a PRI line, which is essentially a T1 line where all of our phone traffic goes through. Well, those, we've been using them for years, but they're reaching end of life, and nobody is going to support those anymore. So over winter break, we migrated everything over to our fiber internet, and so all of our phone traffic is now going over our fiber as well, which is great, but is always something that I'm a little leery of, because now all of our data, all of our phone, all of our communications now are relying on one line. So something that I'll be researching in the next few months is just, what options do we have to kind of split that data? E-rate pays for about 60% of our telco type charges, and they don't like it if you have a backup line or an extra line. So we'll have to see if we can split traffic in a way to make it work so that we can have two lines, perhaps with a different company. We're currently using Comcast, but maybe use somebody else, an entirely different company to use, so that we have, if one goes down, we have some redundancy there. We also moved our Lightspeed content filter, which is the software that filters the internet for our students. That used to be on site. That too was reaching end of life, and they're not supporting the on-site servers anymore. So we migrated that to their cloud solution, and have kind of been tweaking that as school has started. So that's kind of what we've been up to in the last month or so. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. I appreciate that. Next, I'd like to call up Ms. Schaeflein, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. A week ago, we had an Institute Day, and we had all of our staff participating in various activities. So Ms. Schaeflein will share a little bit about what took place 1 week ago.
Thank you. So our typical January Back to School Institute Day has been a wellness day, which has been a time for us to get our entire staff together. We do some wellness screenings. We have sessions for them to be physically active, social emotional digging deep into, things that they can do for their students. That was obviously not something we could do for several reasons, one of which being COVID. We did still have our blood screenings, but one of the things we really needed to do for our teachers was give them time to work together. Because as Dr. McAllister said, this year, our teachers have not had time to collaborate during their plan periods because they have been subbing. Anytime they had any free time, they were covering classes. And we felt very strongly that they needed that time to collaborate and to plan. So I thought the best thing I could do is share with you some of the feedback I got from our teachers from Monday's Institute Day. Great conversations today. Using the day to download and prepare for students was wonderful. While I miss all of the fun wellness activities to help me jumpstart into the new year, I really appreciated having the time to lesson plan and work alongside teammates for the upcoming trimester. It is more valuable than I can ever express. They also really appreciated, Melanie, I don't know if you're going to talk about that in a little bit, the restorative practices sessions, which are sessions we did with our staff members. We were able to have really small sessions, small groups of teachers for that. Along that lines, I also want to mention, one of the reasons it's really important that we have teachers collaborate, we have professional learning communities, and we have time scheduled in their day for them to have a common plan period together so that they can collaborate, make sure they're all meeting the needs of their students, having their learning targets clear, their assessments, and that they can share and learn from each other. And when that doesn't happen during the school year or during the regular school day or weekdays, they've got to take that time after school to do that. And while we were able to give them some time on this Institute Day, I want to tell you how amazing our teachers have been this year. At the beginning of the school year, we set out a goal for our teachers to realign and refocus on our student-friendly learning targets that are aligned to our Illinois state standards. That's question number one in PLC. Be very clear and succinct about what you want students to learn. Then from there, how do we know if they've learned it? But in order to be very clear and succinct, you have to have collaboration. You have to have consensus by all the teachers on the team. And then you have to be able to share across the district. That has been an extreme challenge this year. We've been working with a consultant. His name is Jack Balderman. He's a principal of an award-winning school, Solution Trees Professional Learning Award winner. And we set the goal at the beginning of the year that by the end of the first trimester, every single subject area in ELA and math grades K through 8 would be aligned with those standards. He came back on that Institute Day and worked with some small groups of teachers. And here's what they said about that session. It was valuable to get the feedback on our progress for PLC. We received great guidance for our next steps. We had several helpful suggestions on steps towards achieving our building goals, and it validated the progress we have already made. The most valuable aspect of the workshop is knowing that we are progressing and building. It is really validating of what we're doing. And we met our goal for first trimester, and I was able to share that with our teachers. So despite everything, our goal of learning and making sure we're clear on learning is key, and that's not being forgotten in all of this. Thanks. Any questions?
I think it's absolutely amazing that in spite of the learning situation this year, the conditions that teachers are teaching in, the lack of hours that they have to collaborate, that they were able to achieve this goal. And I think it speaks so highly to the dedication of our staff, that in spite of the most unusual, difficult circumstances, they're not resting. We're still moving forward and getting better each day. So hats off to our staff.
Thank you, Ms. Schafline. Next, Ms. Mandy Sodza, if you could talk. Ms. Mandy Sodza is our Director of Student Support Services. Ms. Schafline mentioned the restorative circles that we did with staff a week ago. So if you could share a little bit about that experience.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I'm Melanie Mandy Souza, Director of Student Support for Homewood. And like Kathy mentioned, we decided to do something a little bit different this year and have restorative practice circles for our teachers. And that also goes in line with our long-range plan of being able to support our staff as much as we support our students, and just give them an outlet to be, should they choose, to be able to just kind of talk about, what's been going on and, how they're feeling about everything. So the focus of the circle was returning back to learning, in a pandemic and how hard that can be. And we did a survey for our staff after just to kind of see, do you want this to continue? Is this something that was beneficial? And some of the responses that we got were, it was useful to hear fellow staff members express the same concerns that I feel. It was very supportive. Every day I hear many complaints among teachers, but the circle format can be more constructive and calming. I just wanted to highlight that comment because, again, we are all feeling several things, and it is a space to be honest and kind of let your hair down. And we do have a restorative practices team that's been trained, trained, including myself, to be able to run these types of things. But we, gave a dry run, if you will, during our Institute Day, and just want to see if this is something that we can continue, and should we. And it's really voluntary to come on your own basis, because some people, don't want to feel touchy-feely, as they say, or things like that. But I think that the spark will catch on if we just continue to kind of offer that during the times that make sense. And then I also wanted just to highlight within special education, we have been using the professional learning communities time as well, because it's very hard for all of us, because we're in different spaces and different schools, to be able to get together. So the format that we have this year has been great during that once, curriculum time, to be able to come together school by school and meet and really go over data and really deeply dive into it. So we have a pretty extensive spreadsheet where all the teachers put their information in, they look at their scores. So the feedback that I've gotten from that is that it's really good, because month by month, we can see are students really meeting their goals. We don't just want to check that at annual review time and then all of a sudden something sneak up, and knowing that we could have intervened beforehand. So now every month, we have like, yep, they're in the green. Something we learned from Jack Balderman as well. Our goals are good. This is a good goal. We're heading toward that. Up, we're in the red. We've been in the red consistently. We probably need to change that goal. Or even in the yellow, what do we need to do to try to intervene? So I've gotten really good feedback, and just the simple fact of special education teachers being able to meet together and have time to just figure out like what's going on and ask for support, talk about common issues that they may have and things like that. So far so good. So yes, it's been a very tough year, but we still see all the lights at the end of the tunnel and the lights in between the tunnels as well. So any questions for me?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to thank Ms. Mandy Sodes also for the work in leading those special education teachers in that PLC work. That's something that is incredibly challenging because they are torn a lot of different directions working with multiple teachers. So for them to have that opportunity to work together, thank you for spearheading that. And then finally, I'd like to bring up Mr. Kevin Keene. Mr. Keene is our Director of Operations and Maintenance. And obviously with the projects, the public hearing that we had to start this evening, talking about the $8.2 million of bonds. He's got a lot of work in front of him with the projects that we have, and there's been a lot of meetings already with architects and building contractors. But Mr. Keene, if you could come up and take the microphone so the people at home can hear you as well.
Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. I'm not a public speaker by any means, so this will be short and sweet. Dr. McAllister just wanted me to say a few words. I am in charge of the custodians, maintenance, grounds here, and so I really think my guys are doing a good job. Again, pandemic and everybody changing, everybody's little extra work. My day guys, are having to adjust to the lunches around here are absolutely crazy, to say the least. We're more spread out. There's just a lot more work during the day. Maintenance-wise, like again, Dr. McAllister just said, got a lot of projects coming up. But we do have aging buildings, so this work is very necessary. So I hope everybody, these buildings were built in the '60s, so yeah. I mean, all this work is really justified. But my guys been doing a really good job. They've been trying to disinfect, sometimes trying to get disinfectant and hand cleaner and stuff. It's tough to get vendors and track things down here and there. I just got donated today, which was 92 cases of hand sanitizer for free. So I was like, oh yes, I will take that. I said, as much as you can drop off. So yeah, they brought me this whole big thing. So, I mean, it's a big thing nowadays. So, otherwise, yeah, I am a little short-staffed, like everybody is. I mean, the teachers are short-staffed. We're all short-staffed. I ran into Dr. McAllister the other day. We were talking about it in the hallway real quick. So, but, everybody pitches in. Everybody does their job. And, yeah, we're trying. We're hope that we don't, that we are not spreading the pandemic here, that we're helping to prevent it. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I know that the parents especially appreciate what a good job your staff is doing to keep the buildings so clean and looking great.
What helps is a couple free dinners for them here and there.
Yes, and I'd like to thank Mr. Keene and his custodial crew as well. All the positivity rates that we've seen, including when we came back from Christmas, very, very few of those have been linked to the school setting. We had 80-some students test positive last week in one building, not coincidentally coming off a winter vacation, right? And that's the reason people have asked, well, you have that many kids who tested positive, why are we in school? Because those positivities, or those positive tests, the transmission occurred outside of the school setting. So they feel it is safe. And that's a huge testament to the work that our custodial crew is doing in keeping our facilities safe. So thank you. And last but not least, I'm going to ask Dr. Gibson later on when we talk about some of the bids that are coming up. Dr. Gibson, our Director of Business Manager, Chief School Business Official, he has done a tremendous amount of work. When you undergo projects like we're doing, There is a lot of paperwork and contracts that need to be reviewed, a lot of meetings with architects, building contractors, et cetera. And Dr. Gibson has been at the forefront of that. So thank you for your work there. And again, we'll hear a little bit more from you when we talk about those projects. Thank you.
All right, thank you for those reports. We have several action agenda items tonight. The first is the personnel report.
The first, personnel, yes, we have a variety of, our people who are leaving us unfortunately for other positions. We have several people going on leaves and also a long-term sub that we're filling in. So you can see all those names and the positions in your report.
Great, thank you. Any questions on the personnel report from the board? The audience? All right, we need to authorize the chief school business official to pay the usual and customary bills for February 2022. Any questions from the board?
No.
From the audience? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented in items 7A and 7B.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Havitor?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Motion carries. We have several action agenda items. The first is the second payment of December 2021 bills and the first payment of January 2022 bills. Any questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education authorize the second payment of December 2021 bills and the first payment of January 2022 bills in an amount not to exceed $2,619,490.82.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Havitor?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes. Motion carries. We have the acceptance of bid from Train USA for mechanical equipment.
Yes, this is the first of several bid packages over the next several meetings and months that we will be bringing to you for approval. This is for the HVAC equipment, the actual purchase of the equipment that we'll be installing in our classrooms this summer. Dr. Gibson, is there anything you would like to add regarding the bid package from Train that was the low bid? Could you come up to the microphone so people at home can hear you? Thank you.
Thank you. The sad thing is that Shelley Peck says this is all starting again. I do a worse job than you, Kevin. You're better than I am with this. So as Dr. McAllister said, we are doing a lot of work with preparing for projects. We have been preparing for projects, and now we've started with this particular first bid that's come to you for your consideration. There are a lot more that are going to be coming, a little bit more complex, but what we're going to endeavor to do is to make the paperwork that you see simple. So there's not a lot that you have to do. If you have questions, obviously we'll answer those. We will give you advance notice so you'll see these things ahead of time. Have questions early, that'll be great as well. So we're working with our construction manager, Gil Bain. We have still that contract to give to you. The architect and construction manager contracts are usually pretty complicated, have to have attorney review. So we'll be bringing those to you to look at as well on the next board meeting. We have had approval to use these services by conversations with our finance and property committee. And so you'll be seeing those as well. So you'll be seeing these bids coming from Gil Bain as our construction manager. They are responsible for these vendors. They hold the contracts, which makes them responsible and liable, if you will, for any issues, legal issues associated with. That's the best way to manage your construction manager. If you're at risk on your own and you hold the contracts as a school district, historically it's gotten pretty ugly. And so we try to always have it constructed where the construction manager has the risk. There is a fee for that contained in an insurance premium, which you'll see in the contract that'll be coming. So I say all this now because there'll be more coming later with the contracts and the bids. But for this particular bid, I did want to note that we did make a last minute change to the bid that's in your packet. The bid had what's called some alternate bids. You structure your bid if you want to do something, maybe not. You put it in as an alternate bid and you can accept it or reject it. So we already know that we're not going to ask you to consider it. That was taken out. So what you see now is strictly the amount for the equipment, which is a pre-purchase. Because of time and cost, the architects and construction manager broke this out separately so that we could get this equipment in and not have delay on mainly the cooling, indoor air quality handling equipment, as well as unit ventilators. That's what I wanted to add. Any questions about that before you go?
Any questions? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions on the train bid?
So can I make one comment?
Yeah,
I guess for
please.
the folks out in the audience, Dr. McAllister had mentioned that we accepted the low bid, and probably worth noting that there were 4 companies that submitted a bid for this part of the project. So it's good to see that we're actually getting other vendors or multiple vendors bidding on our work, and hopefully that'll work to our advantage, I guess, from a financial standpoint. So.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments from the board, from the audience? Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the board accept the bid from Train USA for mechanical equipment in the amount of $488,809.
Second.
I did update the amount.
Oh. Before we second that.
Correction, the amount is $465,000, $465,049.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there
you.
a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davenport?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes. Motion carries. We have the approval of the agreement with and the deposit payment for Vesta Modular.
Yes, Vesta is the company that will be providing the mobile unit that will be placed behind Willow School. It's the same company, albeit under a different name now. It's the same company that provided the mobile unit that is behind Churchill. We had a sales rep who is still with the company, who we have worked with for this unit. Service has been outstanding. We know what to expect with them. So you have the rental agreement there as well as the deposit. We look to have this unit in place for the start of the 22-23 school year. Dr. Gibson? I know you want to come up and use the microphone.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the deposit is for the work to be done by the plumbers, electricians to connect the building to our power and also to sewer. And the lease agreement will be a separate payment that will start after the building is done. So the lease payments will be based on a lease agreement. The deposit is for the actual the work to be done. I do want to mention, without making this confusing, the contract will still be held for the work by Gilbane in working with Vesta Modular.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions on the Vesta Modular agreement? Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the board approve the lease agreement with Vesta Modular and the required deposit of $27,572.00 for mobile units at Willow School.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davenport?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes. Motion carries. We have a need to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing student residency. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davenport?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. We will be back shortly.
Hey, Mary Kay. I'm not gonna sit here and talk to you. Here, take a picture of this, one of my guys. One of my fraternity brothers that I had the fire with. Oh, you got a circle. Yeah, yeah, but. Yeah, I don't know about him or if he, got him, you know? Yeah, because he got access to a bunch of stuff. He got a whole bunch of t-shirts. Not just t-shirts. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, you know what? I take a picture just of your shirt. I won't do your face. That's what I'm gonna send it back to him. That's okay. Good. Hey. Gotta figure that out.
What is that?
That's phone. It's a phone, Android phone. This has, it's actually a Microsoft Duo. And it just has, okay, it's cool.
Yeah, looks like a laptop.
Yeah, it's like a small tablet. Cool.
Gadgets.
Yes. I would have to get the twins to help with that.
Okay, we are back in open session. And we will allow everyone to have an opportunity to speak should you want to. I do want to explain that we have a motion that a vote of no means that the child can stay. A vote of no means the child can stay. Okay, is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the administration that the board find that student number 30894 is a non-resident of the district, and to prohibit student number 30894 from attending school district 153 based on the evidence produced by the parties at the hearing. Further, the school board hereby further moves to authorize the administration to take such actions as are necessary to collect tuition due from the parent of student number 30894. Further, the school board hereby moves to authorize the administration to issue a final decision consistent with the Illinois School Code and its determination that student number 30894 shall be prohibited from attending school district 153 unless the required tuition is paid.
Roll call, please.
Second. I'll
Oh,
second.
second, sorry. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Buffet?
No.
Zimmerman?
No.
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 No. 7 noes, motion carries. The
Does not carry.
Motion fails.
motion does not carry. Thank you. Motion does not carry. The student is not disenrolled. So, Dr. McAllister, do you want to say something? And then if anyone wants to address us, we certainly want to give you an opportunity to do so.
Sure. Residency cases are never easy. I'll start by saying that. And as I explained the night of the hearing, I have an obligation to the taxpayers of this district, right? Everybody wants to know. I frequently hear from people, we pay good taxes to come to great schools here in Homewood. And so one of my responsibilities is to make sure that people who attend school here are what we call bona fide residents, right? You maintain residence with the intent to stay. And so if we have reason to believe that that is not happening, then we open an investigation. And the district does employ a residency investigator who looks into these types of things. If we feel we have sufficient evidence to bring it to a hearing, then the purpose of the hearing is basically so we can present our evidence and the family then has an opportunity to present their evidence. And so the way the school code is written, the Board of Education is the only group that has the power to disenroll a student. And so the hearing officer's job is to collect the evidence at the hearing. He writes up a report which the family receives, the district receives, and the board receives. And then we come here tonight. They've had an opportunity to review that for the past 5 days, and then they have an opportunity to vote, which you just heard. So I guess going into that hearing, nobody knows what the outcome is going to be. We don't know that until this evening. But I do want everyone to know that those hearings are meant to serve a purpose of collecting evidence, right? And as I said to the family that night, we want to know the truth. The board wants to know the truth. And I do feel that through the collection of evidence that the hearing officer put together and what the board had an opportunity to review, and again, they saw exactly what the family was able to see. You saw how the board felt regarding this case and the residency of this particular student. So the student will be staying. That said, anybody that would like to address the board, I know a lot of you are here, my guess, related to this. So if anybody would like to address the board, you're more than welcome to do so. Yeah, if you could grab a mic because the people at home won't be able to hear. And if you could also introduce yourself.
Certainly.
Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Henry. I'm Kenya's brother, a 43-year resident of Homewood, HF graduate. Thank you. You did the right thing.
Thank you. And may I just say that anyone who is brave enough to wear an Ohio State sweatshirt on the night of the national championship, it did not go unnoticed. Anyone else? Okay.
Evening. My name is Kenya. I am the student's parent. I just want to say thank you again for going over all the information and allowing me to present and plead my case. And again, thank you for letting her still be a part of Willow Wildcats and District 153.
Thank you. Okay. We have some more business to conduct tonight. You are welcome to stay and listen to us, or if you would like to go home, we are never offended. We have employment.
Yes, there are two individuals that we are hiring. And again, our never-ending quest to find great individuals for our district. We would like to hire Yolanda King as a special ed assistant at James Hart and Constance Jackson H. as a special ed assistant at Willow.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the employment of Yolanda King effective January 10th, 2022, and Constance Jackson H. Effective January 13, 2022, upon the terms recommended by the superintendent, conditioned only upon receipt of a satisfactory criminal background report and upon receipt no later than January 28, 2022, of evidence of proper legal qualifications for the position to be filled.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Havercorp?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. During the approval of the agreement for the Vesta Modular, we missed 70 cents that I'm sure Vesta Modular will want to collect. So we need a new motion so they can have their last 70 cents. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
8B. The Vesta Modular. I'm sorry, C.
All right, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Havercorp?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes. Motion carries. I feel like we need a math problem. How many quarters, nickels, and dimes? Okay. Um, Are there any discussion items? Is there any written communication to the board?
There is, and I should have had this with me at the last meeting.
That's okay.
But these are thank you cards that I'll pass around to the board from the staff at Willow School thanking us for the breakfast. And it's very lovely, not something they had to do. Lots of fun comments. Thank you for the yummy breakfast. Thank you. The vegetarian option is much appreciated. These kinds of gestures speak volumes. Thank you. So very lovely, and I'll
Thank you.
let everybody see those.
Great. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Vote aye. Or is it, what's the